Well, a ton of excitement across the country as the Toronto Blue Jays are set to kick off the first game of the ALDS against the New York Yankees later this afternoon. With me now is Nick Prosad, the former academy instructor for the Toronto Blue Jays. Nick, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Let's get into it, shall we? Jays-Yankees, first time that these teams have met in the playoffs, which is kind of wild to believe, but this is, here we go. It was an interesting season series. The Jays did have the edge, and they got the tiebreaker. That's why they won the division when they finished with identical records. But how do these teams match up? Take us through this and what you're expecting here for this best-of-5 series.
Well, I'm going to start with, I think that the Blue Jays actually have the edge in terms of the offense and the pitching staff. Where it's going to come down to is the bullpen, right? Both teams, in my opinion, I don't think have the greatest bullpens, especially on the back end of the bullpen. So how they use their starting rotation and the depth and how many innings their starters give is going to depend. It's really going to show how each team does on the pitching end of it. The offense, they're both very offensive, credible teams. I think the Blue Jays also have the edge there, but the Yankees can obviously turn it on. They have some sticks that go gap to gap. So the Blue Jays, where the power comes in, it's going to lay between the Vladdies and the George Springers. And I mean, Aaron Judge and Stanton, that speaks for themselves. Like both teams are explosive. So I think it's really going to come down to the starting pitching and the bullpen.
Yeah, expecting a lot of offense, I think, really, at this point in this series. I'm curious your thoughts on this week off, right? So the Blue Jays win the division. They get the week off. They've been scrimmaging like the other teams are getting the bye, and it's kind of been hit and miss. Some teams that have been off for, a week in between, and you get into the ALDS or NLDS, and they don't fare so well because they haven't played an actual game for a week. But, for the Jays, some of this rest to try to get Bo Bichette and others healthy at this point, how do you think is going to affect this team here as we see them in game one this afternoon?
Well, I mean, you obviously want momentum going into your series, right? I mean, they had momentum in the end of the season there. Obviously, there was a lot of pressure. I think taking the pressure off, coming back home, regrouping, they played some split squad games in Toronto. So I think that's huge. And also the time to review and analyze what the Yankees are bringing to Toronto. We got to see Cam Schittler, sorry, mispronounced that name. He was obviously lights out in that game 3 in the wild card. It's good to see what he offers, and we're going to see him at some point in the series. So I think the time off and to be able to see and review what the Yankees are bringing, and then to recuperate with the injuries, right? I mean, Chris Bassett is one guy that we need back, so that time frame is very important.
Yeah, certainly going to be an exciting afternoon. Nick Prosad, former academy instructor for the Toronto Blue Jays. Thanks, Nick, for this. Enjoy the game.
Thanks for having me.